Ladies, are you wondering where all the men went? I mean, they were here a minute ago, right? But then, all of a sudden, you look around and they're just gone. Well, not all of them, but the real ones and the ones that are left, well, let's just say they're not too bright. They do things and they make decisions much more like women than men. In this video, I'm going to share an opinion and facts that are probably not going to be very popular with a lot of people who are emotionally driven in their life. But if you look at the facts through the cold, hard lens of reality, you'll see something very different. This guy was not some hero. This guy was a flaming moron. And I'm going to prove it to you. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are already up in their feely feels and typing about the poor little squirrel. How many of you knew the guy was using the squirrel to drive traffic to his porn site? Yep, that's right. That's why he did what he did. And the squirrel was 7 years old. Most squirrels, even the oldest ones in the wild, don't live much past 6. And raccoons, some in captivity have lived very long, but the vast majority live about 2 to 3 years in the wild. But this is proof to me that the election tomorrow is going to be well in hand for Kamala Harris. Why? We are living in a female-led society. We are living in a society where even a good portion of the men think, act, and believe like women. Don't think so? Stick around. If you'd like to get read in on psychological operations and how people can see something and through the lens of emotion see one thing, but then when they've gotten command of their mind and they look at something through the lens of thought, they see something entirely different. Now, we have many levels over there at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. Most recent content is for the unit commanders, $10 a month level, and the brigade commanders, $15 a month level. But we have 4 levels total, 1, 5, 10, and 15. The vast majority of the content over there is at the very base level, $1 per month, even less if you sign up for an entire year. Fully refundable, first 90 days, no questions asked. God bless every one of you who has signed up over there. Thank you so much. Let's get right to it, shall we? History. Peanut, the squirrel that they euthanized, was an eastern gray squirrel found and saved in 2017 by Mark Longo. After the squirrel's mother was killed by a car in New York City, Longo tried to find a shelter to take Peanut, but was unsuccessful. He fed the squirrel with a bottle for 8 months. Before determining Peanut should go back in the wild, Longo set the animal free into his backyard, but about a day later, he found Peanut on his porch, missing half of its tail, probably a bird. Predatory bird. Longo said he opened the door, Peanut ran inside, and that was the last of Peanut's wildlife career. The animal lived under his care for 7 years, a very, very, very long life for a squirrel, at his hometown of Norwalk, Connecticut. During this time, Longo created an Instagram account sharing videos of Peanut, including of him eating waffles. By October 2024, the account had amassed 534,000 followers, the vast majority of which are likely kids. That's important. Remember that. That's important. Remember that. Longo ran an OnlyFans account where he called himself Peanut's dad and produced pornography. Peanut the squirrel's social media following was used to draw viewers to Longo's OnlyFans account, drawing in $800,000 in over 1 month. Oh, pardon me. Let me say that correctly. Longo's OnlyFans account drawing in $800,000 over the time period of 1 month. Now, that was why he did it. Now, here's the part you will not hear anybody in the media tell you about this. While it is somewhat rare for squirrels to carry rabies and then pass them on to humans, it is not the case for raccoons. Now, some might say, but Florida Maquis, they didn't have. Some kid somewhere was going to look at this channel that he had and say, little squirrels and little raccoons are just like little people. Look at them eating waffles just like I do. They're little people like me. Oh, he's wearing a cowboy hat. Oh, he's holding a sign. And look how tame these are. And they were going to assume that all squirrels and all raccoons are like that. Why? Because kids are like that. Kids are impressionable, and kids think in very stark terms. It's something called anthropomorphism. What is anthropomorphism? It's giving human traits and qualities to non-human things. Personification is giving human attributes to non-living things. This is anthropomorphism, because of course the two little characters are alive. Now, I'm going to give you a link to this article, protecttheharvest.com, about how this is the greatest actual threat to animal welfare. And if you scroll down here, they talk about this. This article's from way back. Using anthropomorphism to generate donations to make people feel guilty. And it talks about how animals are being used this way. This is not good stewardship. Not at all. Now, here's what's going to happen. Here's what, before anybody says, oh, I can't believe you did that. Here's what's going to happen. These little trash pandas are not nice. They bite. And they do have rabies. That's fact. How many of you remember a few years ago the video of the girl who was on her porch and getting chomped on pretty good by one of these things, and the mom had to come out and save the kid and probably then go have to be checked to see if there was rabies. Now, here's the problem. I know I got people screaming, but theirs didn't have. A kid somewhere now is going to go and go, golly, what a cute little forest animal. And you can say, 7 minutes, here's the point I'm making. And then, squirrel, some chipmunk, raccoon, some little forest creature that he thinks or she thinks is just like a human. And then something's going to happen, and they're going to get bit, either intentionally or unintentionally. And then, here's the point you want to probably remember, the point you probably want to record. They're not going to tell anybody they were bitten, because they don't want to see something bad happen to the little person coon, the little person squirrel, the little person chipmunk. They don't want to tell anybody because they're afraid of what's going to happen to the animal, because they see it as a little human. And then some parents somewhere are going to go through the indescribable hell of having to pick out a child-sized coffin, because if that kid gets bit and they get rabies and they don't tell anybody, or they make up some lie, oh, I cut myself on a sharp piece of wood in the forest, or I fell when I was riding my bike and there was a sharp stone and that's what's on my hand, because they're afraid of what's going to happen to Rocky the raccoon or Peanut the squirrel. Guess what? That's what's going to happen. Now, it gets even worse. This was all over Outnumbered. It's a show on Fox News today. And they were just livid. These girls were sitting on the couch. They were trying to compare, and I'm sure you've heard this, trying to compare the seizing of these rodent-like creatures. They were trying to compare that to Christians being arrested after COVID. I kid you not, they were trying to compare these two animals, which it's very clear you can't have these as pets. And you can't create social media accounts that encourage kids to have them as pets. But they were trying to equate what happened in 2020, 2021, and saying how immoral it was what happened to the Christians who were pulled out of their churches and arrested, to the euthanizing of two animals. Now, here's what makes it even worse. Emily Compagno, Shannon Bream, Harris Faulkner, Kayleigh McEnany. Emily Compagno. This is Emily Compagno. The reason you know of Emily Compagno and the reason she's on Fox News is because, and I know it's like, wait, that doesn't look like her. It is her. It's just different hair color. While back. She was a Raiderette. Okay? She's a Raiderette. And if anybody's ever seen the Raiderette routines, even Vanity Fair did an article about how on the sideline at football games where there are kids, what you're looking at is basically what you would see in a gentleman's club on the sidelines. It is awful. Absolutely awful for her to talk about Christians in the same context and defend a porn star. Defending a porn star using a squirrel and getting 534 Instagram followers for a squirrel eating a waffle or holding a little piece of paper that has food on the back of it with a message written on the front, or wearing a little cowboy hat. This is all content meant for kids. Using the numbers drawn by that to his OnlyFans account. Oh, but it's even better. Is it just her? Is it just her? Shannon Bream. Let me go, what's wrong? Wait, Shannon Bream. What's wrong with Shannon Bream? You mean Miss Virginia, Miss Florida, Miss USA contestant Shannon Bream, who put herself through law school based on the money that she made strutting around in a bikini. And the only reason she's on Fox News, and the only reason Emily Compagno is on Fox News, talking about morality and talking about Christianity, and oh, by the way, where is it? Yeah, now that she's no longer old enough to strut around in a bikini, or she's actually too old to strut around in a bikini for money, enough money to put you through law school, basically OnlyFans light just a long time ago, she's now the mothers and daughters of the Bible speak. That's her new angle on the world. Talking about how it's just a moral outrage. Squirrels and raccoons are the same as Christians. Squirrels and raccoons are the same as Christians. There's no difference. And how many of you knew that Kayleigh McEnany was a never-Trumper? Little blurb about her too, by the way. I thought you might like to hear. While in law school, Kayleigh McEnany appeared on CNN as a paid commentator. She supported Donald Trump in the 2016 presidential election, but in early 2015, before becoming a Trump supporter, McEnany was highly critical of him, declaring on CNN and Fox Business that Donald Trump had shown himself to be a showman, and it was unfortunate and inauthentic to call him a Republican. McEnany called his comments about Mexican immigrants racist. According to Michael Marcantonio, a fellow summer associate at a law firm, she began supporting Trump after accepting Marcantonio's advice, which he gave to her over cocktails. In an interview with the New York Times, Marcantonio recalled telling McEnany, Donald Trump is going to be your nominee, and that if a smart, young, blonde Harvard graduate wanted to get on television and have a career as a political pundit, you would be wise to be an early backer. And then amazingly, on August 5, 2017, McEnany left her position at CNN. The following day, she hosted a 90-second webcast, Real News Update, on Trump's personal Facebook page. She praised Trump throughout the segment, saying she had brought the real news to the American people. And then all of a sudden, then she's a Republican political strategist, and then works for Donald Trump directly as his spokesperson. Now, this is the truth. This is the reality that nobody wants to talk about. If one kid somewhere decides to not treat a raccoon, treat a raccoon like it's a little person. And raccoons that are rabid are not afraid of humans. In fact, they'll walk right up to humans. They'll walk right up to kids. And they will bite. And they will attack. And if the kid, for fear of what's going to happen to the little squirrel or the little raccoon, decides to not tell mom or dad are not there, like in this particular case, to save the kid is going to end up in a box. So, to recap, ladies, if you're wondering where the men went and why the only ones who are left are dumber than sand and don't have the sense God gave a gnat, here you go. Here you go. This is a level of stupid. If my father, God rest his soul, were still alive, he would have been, I can't even say it. They're rats. Yes, they're cute, fluffy little rats. And at a distance, running up and down a tree or doing whatever, yeah. Got nothing else going? Yeah, it's kind of entertaining. Do you bring them into your home? No. Do you make them out to be little human beings? No. Not rabbits. Not rabbits. You can domesticate and use for different things. I've never heard of anybody domesticating squirrels as stock. Rabbits are stock. But foxes, raccoons, coyotes, squirrels, little forest woodland creatures are meant to be in the little forest woodland. Not in your home. And not around your kids. And the reason you're only hearing this here, the reason that you are only hearing this here, is because we are living in a female-led society. And you're hearing Elon Musk, who was raised by a woman, and you're hearing Donald Trump, who kind of predicates his whole world around women. You know, it's funny. I'm going to leave with this. And for those of you who are still here, if Mark Cuban had come out and said, you know, you never see Donald Trump around stronger, intelligent men, do you think there would have been the same outrage? Do you think there would have been the same outrage? No, of course not. There would have been no outrage. People would have laughed. Nobody would have been upset. But when he says, you never see Donald Trump around strong, intelligent women, oh, end of the world. Stop the presses, everyone. Stop the presses. Somebody actually said something that was non-positive about a bunch of bubbleheads. And yeah, sorry, Kayleigh. Sorry, Emily. Sorry, Shannon. Sorry, the rest of the Fox News babes. The only reason you're in that orbit is from the neck down. Which is, to me, is ironic. Because the guy that they are defending now makes his living from the waist down. And he used a little animal to do it. This is not good stewardship. So, once again, $800,000 in a month. $800,000 in a month doing porn with enough following based on the behaviors of a little rat that could encourage kids to end up or make choices that will put them here. So, just saying. I'll leave it there. Live the thought-based life. Live the thought-based life. And for God's sakes, men out there, man the F up. Man up. This is Liz Slaber from, she played the character Idell in Black Sails. And his guys, after being paid a whole huge bunch of gold, were leaving their gold lay everywhere, and she walks into the room and slams down a giant bag of gold and, trying to do the right thing, saying, just how effing stupid exactly are your men? And where have they gone? So I'll leave it there. God bless. Join us on Patreon. Love to have you there. Pray for each other. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. Don't compare Christians to rats. We'll see you guys next time.